Today, I will introduce you the key aspects of the 9th European Research Framework Program, also known as the Horizon Europe, and we will discuss briefly its structure, its strategic plan, the main funding mechanisms in each of the pillars, as well as some specific novelties of this program in comparison with the previous program, Horizon 2020, as for instance, the missions, or an evolution of the previous program is the partnerships. And as just said, we will reserve some time at the end to respond to your questions. Okay, let's start with Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is the 9th framework program from the European Union for research, development, and innovation. It has a long story. The first program was launched back in 1984 with only a budget of 3.3 billion euros. It has increased since then in ambition, reach, and size, being currently the most ambitious and largest program globally with a budget of over 95 billion euros. As discussed in webinar number 1, the previous one, it is aligned with the multi-annual financial framework. So it spans from 2021 to 2027. Horizon Europe as program facilitates the collaboration and strengthens the impact of research and innovation in the EU policies while tackling the global challenges. It supports also creating and exploiting, dispersing excellent knowledge and technologies. Research, development, and innovation is considered a political instrument to achieve the European strategic objectives. But what are these general objectives? Well, the first one is strengthening European scientific and technological bases by facilitating collaboration and strengthening the impact of research and innovation. It supports also the creation of excellent knowledge and technologies. The second one is solving social and industrial problems, like for instance, tackling climate change, which helps also to achieve the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and boost also the European competitiveness and growth. To highlight, for instance, this importance, 84% of all funding, all investments, address any of the Sustainable Development Goals. The third objective is to boost employment, economic growth, and investment, fully engaging with European talents pool and promoting also industrial competitiveness and optimizing the investment impact also with the European research area. For instance, one of the objectives of the European Union is to create up to 320,000 new highly skilled jobs by 2040. And from each of the euro invested in research, development, and innovation, it is estimated to generate 11 euros in the gross domestic product. The competitive funding program will keep Europe at the forefront of global research, create a common space for research and innovation, and reinforce the mobility of ideas, knowledge, and people, especially, as will be discussed next, through the Marie Curie actions. The strategic plan of Horizon Europe, over its 7 years, is divided through by 2 strategic plans. We have the strategic plan 2021 to 2024, which is already finished, with a midterm strategic plan analysis, and the new strategic plan, which is 2025 till 2027. The strategic plan sets out the strategic orientations. It aims to facilitate the implementation of Horizon Europe as an interface between other European policy priorities and the research and innovation activities set out in the work programs, which are mostly biannual. I say biannual because now in 2025 we have a single work program for 2025, which will be released, expected next month, and 2026-2027, which will release at the end of the year. The strategic plan provides stability for the research community, as you can already anticipate what will be the priorities, but at the same time, it also provides a certain degree of flexibility for the European Commission to respond to unforeseen challenges, as for instance happened with the COVID-19 outbreak. Through these strategic plans, the investment is directed towards tackling key global challenges, such as climate change, the loss of biodiversity, a digital transition, and aging population. And within the work programs are defined the different topics. Within the topics are tackling very specific sub-projects, which are addressed by the individual projects. Within the strategic plan, we have 4 key strategic orientations, which outline the main priorities for the following 3 years. These strategic priorities are directed towards the green transition, which will support Europe to become the first climate neutral continent by 2050, while tackle also biodiversity loss and pollution and ensure food security. In fact, at least 35% of the budget for Horizon Europe is committed to be spent on climate actions. We also have the digital transition, which is key to the competitiveness and the open strategic autonomy of Europe. Through, for instance, the transformation of mobility, energy, construction, and production systems. It is also key to achieve the green transition. The third strategic priority is a more resilient, competitive, inclusive, and democratic Europe. Europe's social rights and democratic values and principles need a strong foundation so they can be promoted globally. This includes research on civil security, on a fair and environmental friendly economic model, and on health and well-being on a democratic participation. And to end with, we have an overarching strategy, which is the open strategic autonomy, which will secure Europe's leading role in developing and deploying critical technologies without depending on other countries. Here we can see a global overview of the Horizon Europe structure. Horizon Europe really consists of 3 specific programs. On the left, we can see the European Defence Fund, which has an exclusive focus on research for defense applications, and it has also its own rules and programs. And on the right, we can see Euratom, which focuses on research on nuclear fusion and fission. It also has its specific rules and is implemented slightly different as in Horizon Europe. Within this webinar, we will focus on Horizon Europe in the center, which is the core, and it consists of 3 pillars. We have on the left pillar 1, which is excellent science, and includes the European Research Council, ERC, which funds investigator-driven and frontier-led research projects. We also have the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, which supports the career development and training of research staff through international, interdisciplinary, and intersectoral mobility. And we have the research infrastructures, which is investing in improving and optimizing the access to world-class research infrastructures. In the center, we have Pillar 2, which is focused on the global challenges and the European industrial competitiveness. Pillar 2 funds research into societal challenges, into technological capabilities, and establishes ambitious objectives targeting 6 major clusters, which are health, climate change, renewable energies, mobility, security, digital materials, food, resources, etc. It also includes the JRC, the Joint Research Center, which will assist the European and also national governments in their decision-making by providing scientific evidence and technical support. It is, in fact, the European Commission's in-house scientific service. The GRC may participate as partner in consortia or through direct actions, but that will be specified in the specific topics. And then we have on the right Pillar 3, which is Innovative Europe, This is one of the novelties within Horizon Europe in comparison with previous programs. And it consists of the European Innovation Council, the European Innovation Ecosystems, and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. The first one, the European Innovation Council, EIC, supports market creating innovation and grows SMEs, supporting with an ambitious growth internationally. The European Innovation Ecosystem Program aims to create more connected and efficient innovation ecosystems, bringing together people, organizations, and supporting financially the links needed to support this. And in addition, we have also the EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, which actually fosters the integration of research, higher education, and entrepreneurship, the triangle, through the establishment of knowledge and innovation communities, the KICs. Although it is framed within Horizon Europe, it really does not it is not part of the specific program. These three pillars are underpinned by an horizontal component, which is the widening participation and strengthening the European research area, ERA. It's dedicated to help European member states in their effort to develop their national research and innovation potential, especially for those states with lower research performance, and to support their participation globally within the program. And now let's see each one of the three pillars individually. Within Pillar 1, dedicated to excellent science, aims to bring and keep the science in Europe at the highest level. It supports excellent fundamental research through the European Research Council. Also, the actions within this pillar contribute to make Europe an attractive location to the world's best researchers, promoting training and mobility of researchers through the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. Europe, in that sense, wants to attract and develop the research talent, and therefore it also has to provide access to the best research infrastructures. Here we can see again the three main programs within Pillar 1 and their budget distribution. As we can see, the largest part of the budget is dedicated to the European Research Council. In the next slides, we will enter more into detail into the ERC actions and the Marie Skłodowska actions. But with regards to the research infrastructure program, it does not fund the construction of these large research facilities or infrastructures. It is focused to promote and facilitate its access. They include, for instance, research laboratories, scientific instrumentation, data resources, communication networks, and these need to be open and accessible to the best researchers from Europe, but also beyond, to foster a groundbreaking innovation and collaboration. It seeks thus to ensure that Europe has the best infrastructures accessible to all. Now let's see the European Research Council program, the ERC. The ERC funds bottom-up research across all areas. There are no restrictions, and the idea comes from the researchers themselves. The ideas, however, need to be very groundbreaking. It's frontier research. It should have a high risk and a high benefit, and leading to significant advantages on the frontiers of knowledge. Hence, these different programs have only a single selection criteria, which is the scientific excellence of the researcher and the proposal. The program is open to researchers of any age and stage in their research career, and are divided on how many years of experience they have after defending their PhD. It offers independence, recognition, and visibility to the researchers. There are 5 different types of grants. We have the starting grant, which funds up to 1.5 million euros for researchers in their early career, meaning that they have defended their PhD in 2 or 7 years, after, in a time span of 2 to 7 years. We have the consolidator, which increases a little bit the budget up to 2 million euros and is focused on excellent researchers with already consolidated 7 to 12 years of experience postdoc. And we have the advanced grant, which increases also again €500,000 up to 2.5 million euros. And this is already for recognized researchers with an excellent scientific track record for more than 10 years. With regards to the timings, there are some extensions, meaning that if any of you is targeting to address these calls, you will have to look it into detail, because maternity, paternity leave, long-term illness, national service, or even clinical trainings can be considered as extensions, and it will make you enter into one type of call or another. It is a highly competitive funding, meaning that it funds 100% of the direct cost plus 25% of indirect cost. And the funding is portable, meaning it belongs to the researcher who has achieved it. It's mainly mono-beneficiary, for exemption of the synergy grants, which are collaborative in between 2 to 4 researchers. And they are projects of very long durations in comparison with, for instance, the cluster 2 projects, which are 3 years. These projects are 5 years. Calls are mainly launched on an annual basis. And we have here the proof of concept, which is a very singular call, in which you can only request it if you already are a beneficiary of a starting, consolidated, advanced, or synergy grant. And within the proof of concept, one of the outcomes of your project with potential social or economic potential for the market is going to be explored. Within the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action, the objective is to support the training and professional development of research staff from all over the world through the funding of excellent doctoral programs, individual postdoctoral projects, and collaborative projects. This will enable to provide Europe with a very strong and creative human resource base with the right mix of skills matching the future needs of the labor market. As with the European Research Council, there are no thematic priorities. Any field of knowledge is allowed. If we go into detail in each one of them, we have the doctoral networks, which is a program in which you define a training of doctoral students and a joint doctoral program. It is focused on enhancing the employability of doctoral candidates by providing experience outside of the academia and developing also their employability skills. It is a consortium project with at least 3 entities from 3 countries. That's the general rule within Horizon Europe. And there are different typologies, yes. You have the standard doctoral network, you have the industrial doctoral network, and you have a joint doctoral network. If we go to the postdoctoral fellowships, these support the mobility of researchers to attract the best foreign researchers to work for your entity. It is focused on postdoc researchers with less than 8 years of experience. And then we continue to the staff exchange. The staff exchange stimulates innovation by transferring the knowledge through the exchange of staff between entities. It promotes the cross-sectoral and the international ability through the exchange of staff and sharing knowledge and ideas through the innovation chain. It is, however, open to research, technical, administrative, and even managerial staff, but they need to have a permanent contract with the sending entity. It's also a consortium project with at least 3 entities, and it has some rules, because if all partners belong, for instance, to the same sector, meaning they are all academic or they're non-academic, they should include also members from non-associated third countries to ensure that international exchange. Then we have the co-fund program. It's the co-funding of pre-doctoral or postdoctoral recruitment programs. Its main objective is disseminate the best practices of the Marie Curie program, attracting researchers to work in the EU, and they, however, have their own recruitment calls linked to the project. And to end with, we have the Marie Curies and citizens, whose action is to bring research and researchers closer to the public at large, with a focus on families, citizens, pupils, and students. It does so through the organization of the European Research Nights, which is a research communication and promotion event. Then we go to Pillar 2, for global challenges and industrial competitive. It is the largest part of Horizon Europe, and the different thematic areas are divided into clusters. The activities within Pillar 2 aim at excellence and social impact, always through collaborative research. And these actions are organized into 6 clusters. The projects, these projects are aligned with the specific research and innovation priorities established in the work programs, and it is to strengthen the impact of the research and development in developing, supporting, and implementing the European policies. What are these clusters? Well, these are the 6 clusters of Pillar 2, and each cluster has its own work program, which presents the strategic objectives organized by destination, and these are subdivided into the probably well known by all of you, the topics. What type of areas include these clusters? Well, for instance, in health, is focused on health throughout the entire life course, on non-communicable and rare diseases, on healthcare systems, infectious diseases, but also on the development of new tools and digital solutions for healthcare, and even on research on environmental and health determinants. In Cluster 2, we have culture, creativity, and inclusive societies, which is focused on democracy, governance, and social and economic transformations. In Cluster 3, we have civil security for society, which is focused on research for disaster resilient societies, and also for the protection and security, as well as cybersecurity, which is probably taking more weight in the following framework program. In Cluster 4, we have the digital industry and space, which is focused on research on manufacturing technologies, advanced materials, next generation internet, circular industries, space, artificial intelligence, big data, as well as many others. In Cluster 5 of climate, energy, and mobility, it's a very big cluster. The objective is to reduce the emissions through the research on energy systems, grids and supply, communities and cities, as well as smart mobility and clean mobility. And in cluster 6 of food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment, the name already says, or the focus is on the research, but it also includes seas, oceans, and inland water. Horizon Europe includes, among its main novelties, the launch of the so-called missions. This is a new way to implement research and development and innovation with the social and economic impact in the areas of interest for the European Union and its citizens. It's aligned to Pillar 2 and is aimed at generating results with high impact, which are understandable by citizens and linked to the social priorities. The EU missions will contribute directly to the European priorities and the Sustainable Development Goals. For instance, the European Green Deal, 4 of these 5 missions contribute directly to them. You can see here 5 missions. However, the European Commission is launching a new mission, which is the New European Bauhaus, and which still need to be included and fully detailed. But the 5 main missions up to now are the one from adaptation to climate change, which aims to achieve 100 climate neutral and smart cities by 2030. We have the mission of cancer, which will save at least 3 million lives in Europe, extending not life expectancy of cancer patients, but also achieving a better quality of life and preventing and delaying the onset of these diseases. Then we have the mission of water and oceans, which challenges that of restoring the health of the waters, seas, and oceans. We have the climate neutral and smart cities mission, which want to achieve the climate neutrality in 100 European cities by 2030. And we have the mission of soil, health, and food. Its main objective is to make at least 75% of all European soils healthy by 2030. The missions program published their own work program and calls for proposals, although they follow the main rules of Horizon Europe. Then we go to the third pillar of Innovative Europe. As discussed, it's one of the novelties compared to Horizon 2020. And Innovative Europe focuses on supporting innovations that will strengthen the competitiveness of Europe. And funding especially is oriented towards SMEs and mid-caps, meaning that approximately 70% of the funding goes to companies. Within this webinar, we will focus especially on the EIC, but the European innovation ecosystem, its objective is to build and strengthen the innovation ecosystem and support the scaling of companies, is what was introduced earlier. It tries to establish all the contexts to have a more resilient and more innovative ecosystems. Here we can see again the 3 main programs within Pillar 3 and their budget distribution. As discussed, the European innovation ecosystem, the goal is to connect the regional and innovation, the regional national innovation actions, and includes connecting and networking the actors and the different programs to exchange practices. While the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, although also being part of Pillar 3, it's not specific of Horizon Europe. This is a European organization that strengthens the European innovation capacity. It integrates the business, education, and research to find solutions to important global challenges, and they define the innovation areas in which to invest. Their funding is mostly based on cascade funding. We will focus on the EIC, the European Innovation Council. The main policy objectives of the European Innovation Council are the green and digital transition and the strategic autonomy in critical technologies. It is focused on deep tech development, what means that it's based on cutting-edge scientific advances and discoveries, but always focused on real-world needs. It supports these innovations with a very breakthrough and disruptive nature and scale-up potential to the market with high potential for private investors. It helps thus researchers and innovators to create or disrupt the markets of the future. The EIC covers, however, the entire innovation journey, starting from basic research with the Pathfinder to the proof of concept, development and validation with the transition, and scaling up of the technology and transfer to the market through the accelerator. They are very complementary instruments, bridging the entire gap from idea to market. They are mostly bottom-up, but there are also occasionally some challenges with the targets specific problems. Starting from early technologies, we have the Pathfinder, which are disruptive scientific technologies starting at TRL 1 and ending at TRL 3-4, which are very high risk, but also with a high gain approach. They are bottom-up project as discussed, and you have a minimum of 3 partners with a budget of 3 million euros. If we go towards the transition has some entrance requirements, meaning that you will need to have a Pathfinder previously, or a proof of concept from the ERC, or a research and innovation action from Horizon Europe, or even Horizon 2020, but it has been started at least 12 months ago, or finished at most 30 months ago, always counting from the deadline. The transition goes a bit further into development of the idea, meaning that it starts from the TRL 3-4 in which you ended in the Pathfinder, which is validated an app or a proof of concept, and you scale it up to the pre-commercial. You need to own the IPR or have the license to exploitation. Then you can continue with the accelerator, which has the largest part of the budget of the program, and it's to go from the pre-commercial to the market, meaning TRL 6 to 8. Marketing activities, which are TRL 9, are not funded by any of the Horizon Europe programs, and it funds individual SMEs or mid-caps. It has different funding mechanisms, meaning that it funds grant only, grant first and equity afterwards, which is called a blended, or you're only requesting for investment. And investment can go up to 10 million euros, in which the European Commission acts as an external passive investor. The EIC has, however, additional services which can be applied to any of the 3 programs. And these services are, for instance, the business acceleration service, which includes coaching from experts in market positioning, market development, upscaling, fine-tuning exploitation roads. You can also count with EIC Tech to Market program, which tries to give you some training on how to start a new venture. You can also have the EIC Booster, which you can request additional funding after the finishing of a project for 50,000 euros additional to explore any potential avenues of exploitation. And also a fast track scheme for accelerator. What does this mean? It means that you can go directly if you have followed the course of a pathfinder or a research and innovation action or proof of concept previously towards the transition, and you have a transition, then the accelerator is normally split into two stages. You have a first stage, and then which is a 10 proposal page, I think, and a full stage. Well, in this case, if you come from a transition, then you can go to the fast track scheme, meaning that you can go directly to the second stage. So there are some benefits and some additional services if you are following the entire flow of the EIC. Cross-cutting to the three pillars, we have the widening participation and spreading excellence into the era actions. These contribute to help and build research and innovation capacity, especially for countries which are lagging behind, the so-called widening countries. These actions will strengthen their potential for successful participation in transnational research and innovation processes, but also promote networking and guarantee that they will have access to excellence. Participants in this program will be able to upgrade their research and innovation systems and will make them stronger, allowing the European Union as a whole to advance. So nobody is going to be left behind. And the different activities proposed by widening and strengthening are, for instance, teaming for excellence or the twinning. These are the two most, well, and cost. These are the three most known actions. With the teaming for excellence, it focused on creating new or modernize existing centers of excellence in widening countries through strategic partnerships with leading institutions in member states. Within the twinning actions, the aim is to enhance the networking activities between these institutions, while the widening countries will act as coordinator, and the top class leading counterparts will be linked to them. Therefore, it really builds a potential of networking for excellence through the exchange of best practices. And within the cost, you have also the cost projects enables researchers and innovators to set up their own research networks in a wide range of scientific topics. In addition, there is a policy objective to reform and enhance the European research and innovation system, which is part on the right, which has a very small budget, which is called strengthening, whose objectives are really more like improving policies. Now we go to the partnerships. The partnerships are not really a new concept because it was already introduced back in 2002, but it has evolved and has been adapted to Horizon Europe, focused to generate new ones, such as artificial intelligence, data, and robotics. Then the partnerships arise in response to very complex and ambitious objectives that cannot be addressed through other type of projects. So it facilitates a framework for collaboration at program level between the European Union and public and private partners. By bringing these partnerships together, it helps to avoid the duplication of investments. And it contributes also to reduce the fragmentation of the research and innovation landscape within Europe. All partnerships are based on their own strategic research and innovation agendas, and which are accepted by all of them. Ultimately, these are initiatives which, together with the public and private partners, commit to jointly focus their efforts and support the development of the research and innovation activities to achieve those objectives. There are currently 49 partnerships, and this year, 2025, there are 10 new partnerships coming. And there are some different type of modalities. There are 3 types of partnerships. You have the this is the next one. Here, the institutionalized partnerships, the co-programmed, and the co-funded. Within the institutionalized, also previously known as the joint undertakings, their calls and work programs do not appear in the work programs of the cluster 2, of the pillar 2 clusters. The entity that signs the agreement with the Commission is usually an association that's only for companies. So the companies in the partnership usually put money into the projects and have a greater weight in the decision making, and therefore in the projects that will be approved. They usually organize also events such as info days and brokerages, which are open also to universities. And the projects have specific forms of funding that may not follow the conventional way of Horizon Europe projects. But sometimes it is even possible to help and influence the cause that these type of projects will publish. Within the co-programs, these are based on agreements between the European Commission and the European Association. The universities can be partnered in many cases, and groups are even set up to coordinate the participation. The funding is based on topics that will appear in the work programs of the different clusters. What type of activities do the co-programs partnerships have? Well, they define the technology roadmaps and the strategic research agendas. They define topics. They have consortium building activities like info days, brokerage events, and also support the dissemination of project results. And then we have the co-funded. These are partnerships between the Commission and funding bodies from the member states. In Spain, for instance, we have the ministries, we have FEDETI, and we have the regional agencies. The rules of participation in these projects may highly depend on the country, and the funds available are also dependent on the country. Well, this was a brief introduction to the Horizon Europe structure. I know that it's a lot of information and that I've been going quickly through them. So let's see if there are any questions in the chat.
Thank you so much, Miguel, for this very impressive, very overwhelming presentation, because as you said, yes, it's a lot. It's a huge program, lots of information, many information. Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, I haven't seen any questions in the chat, but maybe there are some questions now. So, and if you would like to pose a question, please unmute yourself, and then you can ask Miguel a question.
Yes. In the meanwhile, I go to the final slide, so people can go to the.
Yeah, that would be great if you could take couple of minutes also to fill in the feedback. The feedback form. That will be very helpful for us, because this helps us to improve our sessions, to really get an understanding of your thoughts. So thank you so much for filling it in. While people maybe are filling in the evaluation form or considering the questions, I have one with regard to the partnerships, which I personally always find a little bit difficult to understand. How can we as universities really also benefit from these partnerships? So how do we get to know, or do we get information on potential calls, and how can we approach as universities these partnerships? Because as you mentioned, these are also the focuses on industry, on businesses. So, but I think that also universities can benefit from the partnerships, but I actually didn't understand quite how.
I'm happy that my colleague Jessica is also connected, because she's the one that is leading this initiative at CPY Europe. So she can answer this probably much better than I.
Okay, I will take this turn. There is also a question that in the chat view, if we can copy the link to the questionnaire. So please, if you can do it, and I will answer the question from Catherine. Mm-hmm. As a university, there are several ways of joining or trying to get in touch with this type of partnerships. Since there are 3 different types of partnerships, the way we can approach can be different. So then in general, for the co-program partnerships, there are associations linked to them, and they manage the let's say the relationship with the commission. So as a university, we can become a member of these associations. So they are open to both academia and non-academia entities from the academia, from the private sector in general. So with different types of membership, but and this membership can differ from one association to another, but we can be part of the association, and then we can participate in working groups, in steering committees, and we can also contribute to the work of the partnership, and also contribute to define the research agenda for the coming years in general. But for other cases like the institutionalized partnerships, then we can, as a university, we can also join associations mainly that are led by the industry, but they are also open to others to join them, and it's the way we can be up to date regarding the interests and the activities of each partnership. At the UPV, we participate in several partnerships. In fact, in our website, we have a list and the links to these ones. What we do is to try to identify, based on the needs and the research areas of our researchers. I mean, we try to identify the associations and the partnerships more, the ones we think that are more useful for us. I mean, in terms we are not right now participating in all of them. There are more than 50. So then we think that based on our areas of expertise, we promote to join the ones we think are of interest for our community. But of course, it's a complex ecosystem. It's a complex world, so it's not easy to understand. But if you have any